What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So guys, today I want to talk about Fire Formation Tenki and why we need to chill the hell out on this card before we fuck around and Konami ends up restricting it. Let me just first say, I really do like Fire Formation. I like the way that the deck operates. Their playstyle is very indicative of mine. You know, the deck wins through beatdown, simple removal, and control. You know, I like decks like that, like GBs and TG Stun and stuff like that. And I think that the deck is supported well. You know, I think that it's developed nicely, and I think that it has a bright future. With that being said, there's been one thing that's been irking me, and it's happened ever since Cosmo Blazer was released, and that's this notion that people are just finding the lamest excuses ever to just randomly throw Fire Formation Tenki in any deck. It's like, dude, you're running one Beast Warrior monster? Why the hell aren't you running Tenki? It's like, what? You know, you look at the regional circuit. It just started for this format over the weekend. You see a wind-up deck that top 8'd. He was running Fire Formation Tenki, and it's like, I thought this was just a fad. You know, I'm not saying that it's horrible tech, I just think that it's wildly unnecessary. You know, you're only searching one monster in your entire deck with it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way wind-ups are running now, you know, you're running cards like Pot of Duality, you're already running 3 copies of Rabbit, so you can dig deeper into your deck, you're running the max copies allowed, and you've still got 3 factories. It's like, dude, you can get the Rabbit pretty much whenever you want. Not to mention, when you have Factory, and you have Rabbit, what the hell are you gonna do when you top deck a Tenki? Like, wait until you draw a Summoner Monk? Because that's not a searchable card with no Sangan, and that's just like, that's a really bad plan. You look at another regionals, and Gladiator Beast top 8'd, and he was running Fire Formation Tenki and no Proving Grounds, and I was just like, what? You know, people like to say, oh, well, you get the extra 100 attack that almost never makes a big difference because a lot of these decks like Glad Beasts, I mean, they run removal like up the ass. I mean, D-Prisons, Forbidden Lances, stuff like that. I mean, these decks really, that 100 attack isn't going to do anything. And I'm thinking like Glads, it's like, yeah, okay, it searches Darius and the Quarry, but I'm pretty sure that Proving Ground can't be MST'd. And I'm pretty sure Proving Ground doesn't clog up my back row. And I'm pretty sure Proving Ground lets me search my freaking bestiari so that I can make Grazaris plays, which are especially good against decks that don't even attempt to play defense. Not to mention, in a span of like an 8-round regionals, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to search Aplamos a couple of times, especially with his 2100 ass. And this seems to be a format with a lot of 19s, 18s, and 1700 beaters like running around, so that card can definitely get it in. So, I mean, it's like, I thought that we were kind of like done with the whole Fire Formation Tenki like experiment phase where everybody's just throwing this into every deck. I mean, it's definitely a good card, but I see people throwing in multiple copies to search like one monster or to search like 2 monsters, especially when your deck already has like multiple ways of searching monsters. I just really don't see a point. Like, it can clog your back row. I mean, I guess we're just never going to play Gores again in this format in these decks. And, you know, I think that if you're running like a hybrid deck, like a Fire King's Fire Fist, or you're running like the Fire Fist engine, I kind of get it. But, you know, you're really not making full use of Tenki if you're just going to be searching like one monster. I mean, if you're going to splash a couple of copies, it's like, okay, well, you know, throw a couple of bears in there or something like that. Like, make your deck work in conjunction with the Fire Fist, because Fire Fist actually seem like a legitimate engine. I mean, you don't really need all the other fancy cards. I mean, the deck is just essentially a new age beatdown. So all you have to do is combine it with a deck that works fairly well with beatdown. Something like maybe TG Stun or something like that. I don't know. So I'm making this video not to say like Fire Formation Tenki is the worst tech ever, because it does actually have some uses. I do think in an 8 to 9 round event, you know, if you're playing this card in some of the decks that I listed, you're probably going to find some inconsistencies. Although I do think that people need to keep their eyes on the big picture. If you're going to run this card, maybe consider running a couple of Fire Fist monsters so that you can maximize, you know, that mini engine, so that you have monsters that can search this card, in turn search other monsters, which is why Fire Fist, you know, they basically never run out of monsters, and they can cycle through the cards they need so quickly. Not to mention, obviously, when you're running those Fire Fist monsters, then you can throw this at your opponent and blow their shit up, whether that be monsters or back row. You know, and then there's always that off chance that like everybody starts trying to randomly splash this shit, and then Konami's like, we're just gonna go ahead and limit it. So You know, everybody just calm down the Fire Formation Tenki love just a little bit. It doesn't have to be played in everything. You don't have to be like black people at family reunion where they're putting hot sauce on everything. It's like, ooh, you got chicken, put hot sauce on that shit. Ooh, you got collard greens, put hot sauce on that shit. Ooh, you got cancer, put hot sauce on that shit. You know, because I don't want to fuck around and end up seeing this card get like semi, because I actually think that Fire Fists are one of the most balanced decks. I don't really think anything in the deck needs to be touched right now. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe there are some decks out there that you guys are running Fire Formation Tenki in that you think it's really good, and maybe I didn't mention that deck. Just let me know. Maybe you agree with me and you think like running it in Glads is absolutely terrible. So talk to you guys later. Click that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't, and have a nice day.